Guess who's back? Back again.
Man, behind the saddle or in the saddle, behind the mic.
Country Squire Radio is back. Tell a friend. See, I was doing the Eminem Slim Shady thing.
That was another reference that I didn't fully grasp onto.
Yeah. Guess who's back? Back again. Country Squire's back.
I got it.
Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? All right, let me actually make sure that we are coming through. Okay. Look at you with your crazy computer. You got a full-fledged setup, man. You've upgraded.
Well, my iPad is not charged tonight, and so I brought out the big guns.
Well,
but yeah,
you got to do it.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of how it happened.
All right. Hey, there we go. Look at that. We can hear ourselves. That's when you know it's going to be a good show.
So there's nothing on mute.
Nothing. Not tonight.
Well, we know something must be wrong then.
Yeah, I know, right? Like if the usual stuff's not wrong, then
right.
what is?
Man, something real big must be wrong. That's terrifying. Man, we haven't been behind the mic in almost a month now. So no. I mean 3 weeks, I guess, if you count Chicago. But yeah, dude. A little rusty on all the pre-show stuff.
I know, and I'm showing up late. Like it's like up is down, left is right. You know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right, but I do think that for all of our complaining, I think it actually is working okay, and I don't foresee or can even locate anything that is particularly off. But you know what? I tell you what. Let's go ahead and start the show and see what happens.
Give me a minute.
There you go. That's what happens.
I really am shameless. I'm like, no, I'm going to get this doggone pipelet.
You got to do it. It's a beautiful Dagner, Missouri meerschaum.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about
Yeah.
it.
All the mics are right. Okay, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. Pappy Joe, we know you tuning in. We know you missed us.
Man, he really did.
We started missing you less and less, sir.
as your
tweets got more malicious.
As time went on.
All right. Now you ready? You got your pipe lit?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Bo.
And I'm John David.
JD.
Hey, Bo, man. Good evening.
Man, good evening to you, sir.
Dude, it's been way too long.
The thing is that, it's all about time travel, right? Like it's a mental state of being. For the listener, they have come with us to Chicago a weekend that we stretched out to 3 weeks. And because we are the masters of time and space.
A portal opened in Chicago. It took us back, and we got to spend a lot of good time with Albert Einstein. Alfred Dunhill, all the famous French pipe carvers from the early 19th century, and I think.
Have you been reading my graphic novel that I'm sending to Beardcore and Russ?
I think I don't know. I might be onto something. Well, I went through the space-time continuum, was able to get a hold of that too.
Yeah, well there you go.
Yeah, it was great.
It all comes together.
Man, it's been quite a month. Yeah, we as you know, if you're our regulars know, we obviously had a great time in Chicago and did that up big, and then had enough content. We took a few weeks off from the live show, and spent some time doing our thing.
Yeah,
which was nice. I didn't know what to do with myself really on Monday nights.
I left the country.
Yeah, you did.
That's how lost I was. I went down to Mexico.
Man, that's your credit. Yeah, you went for kind of a getaway thing. Huh?
Yeah, man, it was great. It's funny because I posted out on Twitter that I hadn't been on vacation in like 2 years, like not a true vacation, because we've gone to New Orleans several times, but I'm just working from New Orleans.
I love that you haven't been on vacation in that long, and it was really cool. I'll brag on you just a second here. We had our local paper, the Clarion Ledger, had an article on you and some of your venture stuff, particularly with Satchel and Potastery, and I love that in the day the paper came out, they had you quoted as saying, "Man, I hadn't been on a vacation in 2 years," and our article came out, and you're at the beach.
I am at the beach
in another country, and so you take a selfie and quote this article, and you're wearing what? You're wearing like a bathrobe or something. There's like palm trees in the background. Yeah,
sipping champagne at 8 in the morning. That's gorgeous, man.
I was like, man, the timing could not have been better. But
I thought that was hilarious.
Man, it's great. I'm glad you got to get out a little bit and let your hair down, man. That's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. No, I had a good time, but I'm absolutely glad to be back. I know Even though it's been 3 weeks, it's felt far longer, man. I love hanging out with you on Monday nights.
Yeah,
and,
ditto, man.
this is one of the highlights of my week, and man, we got a great show to talk with people about today.
Yeah.
I do feel like I should mention it. It is my birthday.
It is. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what are we, 48?
You know what? I was actually on somebody else's show recently, and they asked me how old I was. I was like, oh, I'm older than you guys. They were kind of younger in their 20s. I said, I'm 32, or I was about to turn 32, which is what I am today. And they're like, oh, okay. I could have sworn you were over 40. And they weren't joking. Like, that's the thing.
Turn the knife, baby.
Dude, I always thought I had kind of a young kind of look thing going on, but I guess 2 kids will age up pretty quick.
Had you shaved at this point, or was it more of a kind of a grizzled look?
I mean, I look like I look now, which I guess is over 40.
No, that's
which for all of our over 40 listeners, we know there are several of you there. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that I'm not.
You're not. You're
not
actually 8 years from that. Yeah. Well, man, happy birthday, brother. Man, so glad we could spend the night doing this together and celebrating. So I hope plenty of wonderful wishes come your way. I was thrilled the other day to open up Facebook and see this amazing Return of the Jedi poster.
Oh, yes, sir.
With my face superimposed over Han Solo's face's body, just holding a blaster, and of course you posing beautifully as Luke Skywalker, and I was just terrified.
Return of the live show, man. There had to be something big to let people know we were coming back to the traditional format.
I was just terrified. It was really great, man. It's funny, oddly enough, between Chicago and the time that you and I are getting together now, we had another pipe pilgrimage.
Really?
We did, and a guy named Kirby Booth came all the way from Northern California. Him and his beautiful wife came just from north of San Francisco there. And this happens occasionally. We get folks that are passing kind of through the Southeast, and so they'll swing by the Country Squire. This has become a thing, and you can look up other folks that have done this on Instagram. There's a hashtag pipe pilgrimage.
Is there really?
And so you can get on there and kind of look and see. But it was really cool. I love spending some time with Kirby, and Kirby brought me some whiskey from San Francisco, which was really cool. But this was awesome. Him and his wife were vacationing in New Orleans, and then they drove up. They took a whole day out of their vacation to come all the way up to the Squire. And this is right awesome. As you had left town, so you were out, but anyway, he brought you something as well.
No,
and I think it's a little appropriate,
dude. Oh my gosh! Wait. Revenge. Okay.
This is a T-shirt that says Star Wars: Revenge of the Jedi.
Now, for those of you who do not know, Revenge of the Jedi was the original title for Return of the Jedi before it was changed, because of course revenge is not necessarily a Jedi principle. It's more like something associated with the Sith, which is why when they told the story of Revenge of the Sith, they kind of did an homage to the original title for Jedi. But dude, where did he make that shirt?
So no, he has had this in his closet since the 1980s.
Are you serious?
And it was collecting dust, and Kirby was like, look, Bo is the person I know that will appreciate this more than probably anyone on earth. And so he brought this awesome Revenge of the Jedi shirt. This is a collector's item.
Dude!
Like, this was on the market, and all this kind of stuff had to be removed from the market when Lucas changed the name of the movie, obviously. And so, man, congratulations.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, thanks to Kirby.
How did you sit on this the entire time?
Dude, I wanted to bring it out on air. It's really cool. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, my God.
So
Kirby, you said?
Yeah.
Like the love bug?
That's right. Kirby, that would be Herbie.
Oh, that was Herbie.
Yeah, that would be Herbie.
Kirby was the pink puff from Nintendo, right?
Yeah, this is not that Kirby.
Man, dude, you were awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we had a really great visit that day, and Kirby got the full experience too. We had a full crew of our peanut gallery here in the shop, and so it was just insane. We had a good afternoon solving the world's problems and creating some too. It was good. But anyway, he was very kind to bring you that and bring me a little of the brown water from out west. So.
I'm a little taken back right now. That's awesome. That might be the best birthday present I've gotten all day. That's incredible. Thank you.
Pretty cool, man. Yeah, pretty cool.
Much for that.
Hey, one other announcement too. Got a lot of cool stuff going on. Stay tuned over the next few weeks. We got some really interesting things going on here at the Country Squire, and we'll be rolling those things out here in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to leave it kind of vague just to maybe give you a little a little incentive to check in with us later. Maybe that's it. But one thing I do want to mention, we are so excited today to announce that on June 16th from 5 to 8 p.m., we are going to have a Fathers, Friends, and Fire event with with our friends from Fourth Generation Pipes.
Yeah.
Our good friend Eric Stokeby. And then also Kamoy pipes, which are distributed by the same folks at Phillips and King. So we're so excited. It's a Father's Day event, kind of extravaganza. We'll have fourth generation pipes, leather goods, all the really cool high end leather stuff that they've come out recently. Of course, fourth generation pipes, good friend of the show, and we're proud to have them as a partner. But then also the Kamoy pipes as well, and just what a lineage that has been passed down and has been rebooted in this new effort to kind of reintroduce Kamoy. So excited, man. June 16th, the Thursday before Father's Day, 5 to 8 p.m. here at the Country Squire. Come one, come all. I'm sure we'll have some strong drink and probably some food and some sweet pipes.
Man, that's such an appropriate event at such an appropriate time as well, because of course, fathers and legacy is very much tied to the story of fourth generation.
Yeah, that's right.
As you can kind of see from the naming convention itself. Now, Kamoy pipes, we actually did an episode on Kamoy pipes a couple of weeks ago called Kamoy Meets World. So
that's right.
Sure to check that out. But yeah, man.
Did we really name it that?
That's what we called
it.
That's
great.
That's how we did it. But as you mentioned, man, Eric Stokeby, fourth generation, of course, a sponsor of this show. And as we've been doing for the last several weeks, we've been taking a look at various pipes and tobaccos that are part of that fourth generation series. Today, the pipe sponsoring the show is the 1957.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about the 1957.
Yeah, beautiful pipe. Of course, all these, as we mentioned before, are designed by Eric Stokeby himself, and of course Stokeby is just one of the gold standard names in the pipe industry.
Oh yeah.
But what Eric's done is he's created with the 1957 a kind of a pot shaped pipe. All these pipes have a little Danish influence to them, but this is a very traditional kind of Western British style shape, but it definitely has a little Danish chunkiness to it, which is nice. And
I like that.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Just a very handsome band that goes around it, and like all the other fourth generation pipes, comes in 4 different finishes. We've got a dark porter, a natural vintage finish, a mature orange, and a burnt sienna, which I think is particularly beautiful on this particular pipe. So just comes with a really nice brass colored band and looks sharp. These are going to be kind of chunky pipes, something that your paws will feel real comfortable sitting around. And man, we're just tickled to have them as a sponsor this evening.
There's a real specialness to his pipes as well. If you go to fourthgentobacco.com, you'll be able to actually check them out. Fourth gen, the number 4 actually in the website there.
Yeah.
Also the tobacco for the 1957.
57. Yeah, this is Eric Michael's blend, 1957 Eric Michael's blend. I'll read the description. It says, this blend is a perfect mixture of light Virginia tobaccos. When lit up, you'll find natural sweetness and taste with room notes of soft, creamy vanilla. And it comes in a 40 gram and 100 gram tin. And we're proud to have them as sponsors. And of course, if you come to our event on June 16th, Fathers, Friends, and Fire, you'll be able to buy and try all these tobaccos. And pipes.
They're gorgeous. I got a chance to sample most all of them in Chicago, and man, oh man,
they're good, man.
Yeah.
That 1931 is like it, that should probably be on some kind of list of controlled substances, because that stuff is really good. It's really hard for me to put that down.
What's the one that's before that one? The honey blend, I think.
Let's see.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. The 1897, the Eric Paul's blend.
I bought one of those tins and added it to my cellar. Which, by the way, I've got like a freaking cellar now.
Yeah, dude. Like, how did that happen?
I don't know. Like, I was actually surveying before going to Mexico which tobaccos. I snuck some of your tobaccos out of the country, by the way.
Oh, hey, good.
We didn't tell customs when going through. They asked if we had tobacco, and before I could answer, my wife said, nope.
No. Oh, we love Mrs. York. That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, no, man, I got some of his stuff in the cellar. So
that's awesome,
really
man. Yeah, well, really good tobaccos from Eric at Fourth Generation, and we thank them for supporting us, and we hope that you support them.
Part of the reason why we are doing this podcast and why most of you are tuning in is because there's a love for good quality blended tobacco.
That's right.
It's a beautiful pastime with a rich history and also some great tasty blends out there. You yourself have been responsible for blending a lot of great blends in the last several years that you've been a tobacconist. And there's a lot of concern going around right now for things going around legally speaking. And while historically, when we've done this podcast, we talk about pseudo timeless events, or rather not events, but pseudo timeless subject matter.
Yeah,
right.
sure.
So we talk about products, we talk about shapes, we talk about various blends, we do blend pairings, we go into the culture that surrounds the pipe. That's
right. That's
historically
That's kind of our bread and butter.
Yeah, it's historically been our approach. Today we're doing something a little bit differently because of some recent litigation. Is that the right phraseology?
Well, no, it's just we'll say government interventional developments.
There we go. That sounds good.
How about that?
We're of course talking about the FDA regulation of cigars and pipe tobacco.
That's right.
Now this kind of came about in the last few weeks while we've been absent from creating kind of new shows, and so there was a large demand over the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of people confused about this, a lot of people wondering our thoughts on it, and we thought, you know what, let's probably
take a whole show,
dedicate a show to it, man. And I think it'll be hopefully very educational for everybody. Hopefully educational for me, because I'm still trying to piece all this together.
Well, and what's funny, of course, we are talking about the FDA regulations that have come out, and I think technically it's called their final rule on deeming tobacco products. And so what they've done here, Bo, and this is it's still being fleshed out. It's going to be litigated, on and on and on, but. Just interestingly enough, a few days after we leave Chicago, I start getting all these phone calls and text messages, and I'm like, "Have you heard? Have you heard?" And it's like, it's almost like people are thinking it's the end of the world or something. And and so the FDA, of course, comes out with this final rule, and it's the talk of the town in the tobacco world, in the premium tobacco world. So basically, we'll kind of let you know what's going on, and then we'll step back and get a little historical perspective on kind of where we're at, kind of how we got to this point, and then take it from there and see kind of where we think this is going. So basically, what our friends at the FDA have done is they have taken premium tobacco products like pipes and cigars, but then also other tobacco products as well, such as inexpensive cigars that are short filler, and also hookah products and vape products, which are not tobacco products at all. They're just have nicotine.
Right.
And so they've taken all these e-cigarettes and then the other things, and then lumped them in, of course, with premium things like pipes and cigars, and they
even e-cigarettes,
wow,
okay.
and I actually, that's one of the biggest thrusts of this whole deal, which we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah.
But what they've done is they've taken that and said, we're going to treat all these products exactly like we do the traditional standard American cigarette. Okay. So basically what they've done is they've kind of imagined the rules and regulations that are thrust on top of your regular pack of cigarettes, a Camel or Marlboro or whatever you might buy at the drugstore. They've taken those the rules for that, and then kind of thrust them now upon upon the premium tobacco world, as well as this other stuff.
Painting with broad brushstrokes.
That's right.
And historically, this has been kind of the at least the culture that we've lived in. We've kind of had to fight against that narrative, right? We even did an episode called "Separating the Stigma," where we talk specifically about how not all tobacco products are created equal, regardless of how some people might view them. However, in this instance, it's hitting fairly close to home how people are viewing them.
Yeah, it is. And, we do talk about this quite a bit, because there is this push, I think, by the folks, in some different industries that want to lump all of us together just to kind of, everyone's got an interest in this to some degree, right? The pipe and cigar stuff, for a lot of interest groups, it's kind of a proxy war just for the greater war against big tobacco and all this kind of thing. But then also some of the big tobacco companies have some real conflicting interests in this thing as well, which we'll talk about some too. But this is all very fascinating, and of course it came down just a few days after we left Chicago. Basically, what has happened here is and it's very confusing. It's real convoluted, and it's one of those things where the more you look at it, the more you go cross-eyed and just and have trouble with it. And you've got attorneys and folks kind of planning some litigation and stuff that you can read various and sundry articles and opinions online. And one day they'll say this, the next day the same person will say something different, and there's just a lot of convoluted interpretation of this going on. So we're in the very early situation. It's evolving. Yeah. We're in the very early stages of this thing, but we did want to talk about it. And so I'm going to lend to you my very legally trained expertise and just kind of my broad brushstroke view from it, from my position.
John David Cole's a tobacconist. He's not a lawyer.
Right.
You should not take anything he says as an actual lawyer.
Yeah. Say that in that really fast, annoying voice that like goes at the end of the commercial.
Right.
Yeah. So basically what they've done here is they've come out with this final rule. And again, they've kind of, they're taking e-cigarettes, cigars, pipe tobacco, hookahs, and kind of lumping it all in with the with the standard cigarette stuff. And so there's a lot of ramifications to this, Bo. We've got a lot of things that are going to come around because of this. So the major thing, now that they've kind of quote unquote deemed all these tobacco products to be tobacco in the sense that a regular cigarette is, the major thing is that they have picked this essentially an arbitrary date for February 15th of 2007, that any product that has been put on the market after that date has to be essentially within 2 years, has to be withdrawn from the market, applied to go through a submission process through the FDA, through the federal government, and then has the opportunity, in theory, to come back on the market after that. And so,
all right, so
I mean, now think about what I just said.
Yeah.
So every tobacco product, premium tobacco product, we're not talking cigarettes here. We're not even talking, cheap cigars or even cigars at all. I mean, we're talking everything. We're talking everything. So think of your most favorite small batch blend by, whether it be McClelland or Cornell and Deal or, the folks at Germain or, reintroduction of some of these really old blends that have come out.
Yeah.
Things like Three Nuns and Balkan Sobrani. Like,
wow. Yeah.
These are products that were off the market prior to 2007 and then have been introduced or reintroduced. And if all this stands, are about to go away. And so, basically what they've done is they're saying everything after this date of February 15th, 2007 has to be removed from the market, and they have to go through the PMTA process, which is the pre-market tobacco application process. Now let me give you just an overview of kind of what that means.
Sure.
What the federal government is saying is, if you want your product to be back on the market, you just go through this PMTA process, and then, eventually it gets it back on the market. The problem is with that is that for each individual product that goes back through this process, the PMTA process, it can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for each individual SKU that is going back on the market. So
each individual product.
Each individual product. So we're talking like they have to go through, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of testing and, lawyers' fees and, all kinds of, trial things where they compare it to previous products that are already on the market and things like that. And that's before they can even say if the government's going to approve it to come back on the market or not. So, essentially what they've done here is they've kind of created this giant bottleneck. And we know how fast, the government tends to work on some of these kind of things. Just to give you an idea, it can take about 5,000 hours worth of paperwork just to do one product. Is kind of what they're anticipating here. And also,
and of course, it's going to be the government's highest priority to make sure that these tobacco products get back on the market.
That's right. That's right. So unfortunately, what we have the prospect of is seeing a lot of our favorite new tobaccos. And when I say new, I mean, we're talking, almost 10 years ago now. So,
oh wow, that is almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, 2007. I mean, that's almost a decade of time of innovation within the pipe tobacco world and cigar industry. That will be gone. And you think like, okay, well, maybe they'll come back on the market. But, at that point, the only players in this game that can afford to spend the millions of dollars to get these, products back on the market are going to be folks with really deep pockets.
Well, so the well-established companies out there who have been kind of part of similar processes in the past, I mean, to some extent, this is similar ground to what's come before, but how does this impact, for example, your hometown tobacconist? I mean, John David Cole hasn't been at the Country Squire for the last 10 years,
Yeah.
or over 10 years.
Well, you say it doesn't affect the big companies as much, but to be honest, like when you talk about that, we're talking about the really big companies,
Sure,
and
yeah.
what that means is the cigarette producers.
Yeah.
And what's telling about this, Bo, I think, is that some of the main cigarette producers, people like Altria and Philip Morris, were actually behind pushing for some of this regulation. And because what that did is it forced the cigar and pipe premium folks to play by their rules, which they're already subjected to. Another thing as well, because all the stuff past 2007 has to come off the market now, they're essentially every e-cigarettes and vape products are a real big thing right now. There's of course the government kind of said they wanted to take these things off the market so they could study what was inside them to make sure that they could be safe for public health and all that, which we can debate the merits of that all day, but essentially, if you think about just the timeline of it, every single e-cigarette or vape product was, with a very, very small number of exceptions, actually came on the market past 2007. And so all these vape shops that have opened up throughout the United States are immediately about to be a thing of the past, because you think about it, like a vape product essentially did not even exist before 2007.
Yeah.
The only ones that did were owned and promoted by some of the biggest cigarette companies, which I think is very interesting. So
it's like Coke making water.
That right.
Right. When bottled water became a thing, all of a sudden Coca-Cola.
I guess Coke's going to get in that business, right?
Yeah.
So but what's fascinating is that you've got these big cigarette companies that are kind of pushing some of this stuff, causing the premium and the vape stuff to play by their rules, and therefore hurting the more premium market overall. There's a lot of gnashing of teeth right now amongst a lot of your high-end tobacco blenders that are like, well, is it going to be worth a company like McClelland or Cornell and Deal or whoever to reintroduce all these incredible blends that they've come out over the past 10 years? Like, what are the gains and losses from doing that? What's the opportunity cost for resubmitting these things, go through years of wait, warehouses full of this stuff, legal fees, all this, tied up production capacity on all these kind of things, just to get a blend, like Exhausted Rooster reintroduced in, 2023.
Oh, man.
And so we're having to wonder about that right now. Yeah. There's been estimates that, over 50% of the modern cigar market could be taken off the shelf within the next 2 years. And you think about that, like, so much of the cigar and pipe world right now is focused on the boutique, small batch, hand blended, hand picked kind of stuff. Everyone loves the craft stuff. We're kind of living in the craft culture right now. And so, this is gonna, the folks that will be affected by this are those folks.
That's so infuriating.
Yeah.
Because the people who are making you're exactly right, which is the modern craft cigar roller, the modern craft tobacconist, are making specialty products for a special market. Nobody's getting into tobacco right now because they want to get a pipe in the mouth of every 2-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the cigar and pipe shops, and the folks making cigars, the quality, the premium cigars, the folks making the quality, the premium tobaccos, they're not the cigarette companies. And that really, and we've had this discussion before. And like I said, I would really encourage you to go and check out our Separating the Stigma episode, where we kind of had a bit of a fairly honest opinion shared. Sure. We also got some feedback from you guys. And I know that this is one of those situations where not all of us share the same opinion, but I do feel very passionately about that. This is not cigarettes. And the fact that the cigarette companies want to drag everybody else down with them as if we're the same is so infuriating to me.
Yeah.
So, but getting back to it, you're exactly right. A lot of these, even larger, but not the big, not the big cigarette companies, but
Yeah,
even the larger players in the space are going to be impacted pretty heavily.
You're still going to have, a lot of the big pipe tobacco folks
Yeah.
that are, going to think, well, where are we going to put our resources? And so, that's something that, we'll have to, you'll have to seriously look at. Now, we get a tweet in from our friend Hocker the Love Doctor. He tweets in, Jeremy Reeves, the master blender at Cornell and Deal, says he feels that C&D will survive the regs regardless of the final outcome. And you've got a lot of companies like Cornell and Deal that have been around for so long, and of course have just such loyalty and consumer, just a market share and all these kind of things that I think can and will. Even the Country Squire, we people have been asking me, like, is this something you're scared of? And like, man, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, this is a pipe shop that is weathered the cigar boom of the 1990s and very deliberately did not pivot towards cigars when we probably should have. I mean, if you're looking at it from a purely economic standpoint. And so, man, this ain't our first rodeo. Like, we've been here a long time, and I think a lot of tobacconists that have been here for a while are going to be able to weather it. But, is this something that is going to affect people's lives and also their selection opportunities? Like, yeah, it really is. It is. Particularly, the folks from the vape standpoint, the e-cigarette standpoint, you're about to have tens of thousands of people out of work over that. Now, we don't like to talk about politics on the show a lot, Bo. You and I pride ourselves on that.
Yeah.
And even with this, it's very touchy for me to kind of go, back and forth on some of these things. And so we want to respect people's opinions. But
if we were having a political discussion, I would argue both sides of the opinion and do so in a way that got everybody angry. That's just typically how I do it. But we're not talking.
I would reach over there and find that mute button that you're always so prone to hit.
Where is the mute button, by the way?
I don't know. We need that. Yeah, actually, we have a mute button.
Yeah, we do now.
But yeah, I think it's one of those things where you're going to have players that are positioned well to weather the storm.
Yeah.
But then you're also going to have folks that won't be able to. And I think those are a lot of your real newcomers on the market that just don't have an established presence, particularly those that didn't have any products on the shelf before 2007. So all this has kind of come around on a really interesting track. I mean, we again kind of reminding ourselves we don't talk a lot about politics.
Sure.
In the 1990s, this all kind of started when the FDA tried to start, its regulating pipe tobacco. And so, you had kind of the FDA, trying to regulate pipe tobacco. And then there was this big Supreme Court ruling in 2000 where the FDA was actually sued by Brown and Williamson Tobacco Corporation. And basically what the Supreme Court said was that, the FDA did not have the express, authority to regulate tobacco products. It was not enumerated by Congress that the FDA had authority to regulate this stuff. And so you went through the 2000s, because of that, the FDA couldn't regulate any tobacco products. And you went through the 2000s, you can kind of think of the political environment there. And so the FDA was hands off with this stuff. And then in 2009, after the political winds had kind of changed, the Congress passed it was titled the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act, which gave the FDA essentially authority over all tobacco. And so a lot of stuff happened that year. And if you've been around not just pipe tobacco, but kind of tobacco as a whole over the course of the past several years, you might have noticed some changes. One of the biggest changes I noticed was you got rid of basically all the flavored cigarettes that were out there. So even to this day, except for menthol, you can't get really flavored cigarettes out there. Another thing too, if you were used to, you used to see cigarettes, advertised as light cigarettes, and you don't see light cigarettes anymore. They legally cannot call them that anymore. So now you'll have people say, well, which Camel do you smoke? The Camel Blue or the Camel, Silver, or the Marlboro Red or the Marlboro Silver or whatever. And they've kind of had to change their marketing strategy based on this stuff too. So so a lot of things change with that. Also, some of the labeling and packaging things where 50% of the front of the packaging unit had to be dedicated to anti-smoking. This is basically a warning label kind of thing. And so fast forward now from 2009 to 2016, and so the FDA is kind of saying we're going to take those rules that have made it so stringent now for cigarettes, which a lot of us support, and we're going to put that now onto premium tobacco and cigars and pipe tobacco. And so that's kind of where we find ourselves now. And is it complicated? Yes. Is it not good news for pipe enthusiasts? No, it's not. It's not. But is this the end of the world, or is it something where you're just going to be unable to get premium pipe tobacco from now on? No, it's not that way. And there are some rumblings of things that are kind of going on, I think, to defend the interests of boutique and premium pipe smokers.
And that's important because, I think a lot of people they're tweeting in right now, even asking, but Senior Chief, Bowser's Castle, Bag End, John David Cole has not been a tobacconist for the last 10 years.
That's right.
He's only been a tobacconist for the last couple of years.
That's right.
10 years ago, you were what, a baby? You're like, no,
I was an infant. That's right.
But obviously
a very bearded one.
Obviously, as fans of pipes and pipe tobacco, Cornell and Dill, Mac Baren, there's some names out there.
Yeah.
Lane and what they've done. There's some big names out there that we know they've got some legacy blends that will continue through kind of what could potentially be seen as a dry spell.
Yeah.
And will probably at some point hopefully be reintroduced. But what about the small batch blends made by the hometown tobacconist? And more specifically, man, a lot of people who listen to this, they've bought your tobaccos, and many of them you've actually made custom blends for them as well. Yeah. So how does this impact like your setup?
Yeah, and
those like it?
What I'm happy about is the International Premium Cigar and Pipe Association, that gets together every year. They actually, of course, big lobby group, and these are all for retailers that like us. We don't, these are retailers that focus primarily on premium tobacco products, and so they have asked for a legal clarification on part of this deal. Basically, as a part of the ruling that came out, they've kind of said, okay, we are going to require all the retailers that produce, custom blends to work, almost be classified like a manufacturer, and then go through the process of becoming that and being regulated as such. And so, I think it's complicated. There's a lot of, there's a lot of hope that maybe, that'll be interpreted one way or the other. But, if you read it a certain way, you could probably read it that, a small retailer without the right, certifications and all this kind of thing could not repackage a tobacco that's already on the market. Well, a lot of the tobaccos that I use are come in a bulk blend, or a bulk 5-pound bag of tobacco, and it's just something that I use. We get blending ingredients like this. So now, are a lot of those blends, have they been on the market for years? Well, yeah, a lot of them have, particularly the ones we use. Our shop is so old and our recipes are so old. And even the newer blends we use, a lot of our newer blends use ingredients that have just been on the market for a really long time. But it still, comes down to the fact that, okay, well, if the ingredients predate 2007, that's one thing, but are they going to, say that you can't, repackage the tobacco in-house? And I think that's where the sticking point comes in. And that's where, our friends at the IPCPR, they have requested clarification on this. So which is good. And,
they're fighting for us.
They are. And I think the big, the big hope right now is in Congress, and again, we're going to tiptoe around all the political stuff here very deliberately. But, there's a movement in Congress right now with lots of, basically these bills that have been introduced to kind of make a carve out for pipe tobacco and for cigars. And if I'm getting the numbers right, the House Resolution 662 and I believe Senate Bill 441, if I'm correct, I could be butchering that, but there's one on each side of the legislature there in DC that have kind of taken up this banner for premium tobacco products and have said, like, let's carve out exceptions for the pipe world and the cigar world.
Yep.
And so every day those bills are gaining more and more co-signers for from the representatives and senators there saying that they want to support this. But so there is hope there. But yeah, I mean, obviously if these rules are interpreted in a certain way, we could see the end of some tobaccos that have been debuted here at the Country Squire and other small tobacconists in the past several years. So I think right now the answer is we don't really know. We just don't really know.
Can I kind of put it in terms of like foodstuffs to see if I'm following correctly?
Yeah.
So you make gumbo. Yeah. And it's good gumbo.
I would never make good gumbo.
All right, so I'm making a gumbo.
You make the gumbo.
I'm making a
You've
gumbo.
actually won trophies for this stuff.
And I'm using Tabasco, right? And I love, Tabasco. Now, Tabasco is a sauce that I did not personally make.
That's
it
right.
is actually made to be an ingredient
That's
into
right.
something else. And
That's
so
right.
I use that as an ingredient into my gumbo. And let's say that, Tabasco from time to time, they put out new versions of their Tabasco sauce. So let's say there's some sort of weird, wild, Cajun mesquite Tabasco sauce they put out like 2 years ago.
Right.
And as crazy as that name sounds, it actually tastes pretty good when mixed with some other stuff.
And maybe you want to use it in a new recipe or something. Experiment with it.
I make this gumbo that's an award-winning gumbo.
Right.
But all of a sudden, the FDA or whomever says, okay, Tabasco cannot sell products. Yeah, it has to take all products off the market that were made in the last X amount of years.
That's right.
Which include that mesquite barbecue Cajun, whatever I just said, and which means that I no longer have access to it. Therefore, that new gumbo I was making,
right,
I don't have any ability to make it anymore.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
So I'm following.
It's something like that.
Are you hungry?
And I'm starving. I don't know about the mesquite Cajun,
just throw
whatever,
it out there.
but yeah, I mean, I think a good Yorkist gumbo would be great.
Yeah.
Rue York City, was that the
Rue
name?
York City? That's
yeah,
what
that's
right.
But yeah, I think I think we're just gonna have to see how this shakes out. Again, we're in the very early stages of this. There's a lot of petitions going around right now. I saw quite a few of them. If I can pull the website up on, the White House has a site where you can create and then join on to petitions. It's called petitions.whitehouse.gov.
Yeah, I remember when somebody tried to commission the White House to build a Death Star.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think I signed on for that. Actually,
really?
Yeah. No, I was a big proponent of that.
Oh man,
to dominate the universe, right?
Right. As long as the gun's pointed that way,
right?
This way.
But there are a few petitions on there right now, which I would encourage you to support, and we'll be pointing folks to those over the next few weeks, right. and also as we learn more. Again, I've talked round and round. We've kind of said a lot of things, and that might be kind of confusing. And trust me, they really are. It is. I encourage you to read some of the stuff that the FDA handed down. If this is an evolving thing, all this to say, this is confusing. It's evolving. It's something that is going to continue to develop, and so we'll see where it goes. But
who was the group that you said the lobbyist group that was trying to separate cigars and pipes from?
The international. Gosh, I always butcher it. You think?
All these groups' names, they all have ridiculous. There's an acronym out there. I'm sure
it's the International Premium Cigar and Pipe Retailers, the IPCPR. Yeah. And
we need to reach out to them. Let's see about doing a shop talk.
They're a really important organization. The Squire's been a member since the beginning of our shop, and it's one of those things where just folks are kind of trying to figure out, okay, what's the next step, and there's a lot of folks that get it, and there's hope out there. So I think from the Squire standpoint, will a shop like us make it over the next 40 years? Man, we're good to go. Like, this isn't our first rodeo. We've been down this before, and we'll figure it out going forward. But that does not mean we shouldn't fight for our hobby, for our rights, for our liberty. Those things that we hold dear, and push back a little bit, maybe against the old nanny state telling us what we can't do.
So when you first read this regulation, at first you were afraid. I mean, you were petrified. You thought that you could never. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
but you'll survive.
It was terrible.
That's where I was going with that. I don't know if anybody saw that coming, but hey, man.
Yeah, good segue.
Good. The worst segue ever. No, man, you did a fantastic job. I think explaining it in a way, hopefully that many of us can understand. And like you said, we'll keep our thumb to the pulse, and as new developments come out, we'll kind of spread it out in news from time to time.
That's right.
And it'd be great if we could actually get some of these counselors and advocates to actually come on. Maybe not for a full show, maybe for a shop talk sometime.
I think so.
15-minute check-in.
I think so. The exciting thing has been the overwhelming outpouring of just the voices of pipe enthusiasts that have come forward to say, like, what are we going to do about this? And so I think you've seen a lot of that, and that's being represented by folks that are kind of taking this banner up in Congress, and obviously the petitions that are going around. And so right now, immediately, what can you do? Man, you need to contact your representative or senator and encourage them, or the White House for that matter, and encourage them to take a look at this, from a very rational standpoint that doesn't, look at it from, very particular, political eyes, and just say, what should we do as reasonable human beings about this for an industry that is very important, is very safe, has been, well thought of over the years, but now with the changing political seas are kind of being lumped in with a product that has some negative connotations. I think there's a way to get through this, and I think that folks, hopefully cooler heads will prevail.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, I think this has been a very cool conversation, a cool-headed conversation.
It has
considered, and I think you did a fantastic job. And who else does a fantastic job?
Who's that, Bo?
The good folks at Missouri Meerschaum.
They do, man.
They do a fantastic job in carving some just amazing corncob pipes.
That's right.
As y'all know, the Missouri Meerschaum has been a sponsor of the show for just several weeks and months at this point, and we absolutely love them. The quality products they create. We've got a pipe sponsoring this show that is really cool and really tiny.
Yeah,
it's the Morgan corncob pipe, which is a delightful little nose warmer. It actually has that natural finish. Is that what I've been calling it a natural finish on those style, but what would you say that is?
Yeah. It's a natural finish. They have one, I believe, that is a polished finish.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, they do. They have one of each,
awesome.
but then they also have the natural finish. And so, think of a small apple-shaped pipe, and one of our best-selling Savinelli shapes here at the shop is a 207 Savinelli. It's a real compact, apple-shaped pipe, straight pipe, and man, this is the Missouri Meerschaum version of that, and it is just so perfect. It is the great pocket pipe for your everyday use. So just a real nice kind of lengthy shank compared to the size of the bowl on this pipe, and it's one of those that I think you'll be tempted to tote with you wherever you go.
I'm tempted to become like a Missouri Meerschaum collector. I mean, the prices on all these
There's
things
a reason
are so
people do.
Good. And I mean, like all the various shapes and styles you can get. I mean, it's kind of tempting. It's calling me in. It looks great. Yeah. So check it out, guys. Missouri Meerschaum, they make quality products. Again, we thank them for being a sponsor of the show. And we thank you guys for going and checking out their products. And if you happen to have a Morgan corncob pipe, be sure to take a selfie with it, smoke it this week. Tweet those into us. We will retweet those out. And again, thanks to good folks at Missouri Meerschaum. Pipe question of the week comes in from Morton, and I've been calling him Sandevi, but his name is actually Sanvi.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Morton Sanvi. Sorry, Morton.
and he mentions that he's Danish too, which I mean,
Danish and dyslexic, and so he gives me the pass because he get like
that's fair.
We get each other.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Morton writes and he says, "Hey, Bo and John David, I wanted to ask you about allocating a different tobacco for specific pipe. When I started out my pipe smoking adventure, I gravitated towards English blends. That was all I smoked. I still like English blends, but during a long flu (parentheses), that's when the fever took over and I went crazy on the quick-fire questions in the parentheses. I somehow went through a taste transition, and Orlick Golden Slice became my new best friend. The flu is now all gone, and Latakia has begun rearing its ugly face from time to time again. So I'm thinking, with Latakia back in my life, I was trying to think about allocating specific pipes for Latakia blends, but somehow I feel kind of reluctant to do so.
Yeah.
Due to that I am a day-to-day grocery shopper type. I never know what I'm in the mood for, and I feel like with pipes, I feel like that with pipes too. So what are your thoughts, and what do you guys do? And then he also gives some praise for the show. He says he can't thank us enough for the podcast, and also gives me a large amount of grace for butchering his name for weeks upon weeks upon weeks.
Years, weeks. What are you talking about? Years, yeah.
Sorry about that, Morton.
Morton's been such a good friend of the show for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. That's right.
And man, we thank you for writing in, brother. This is interesting. So the flu is gone now. Latakia is back in the ball game, and so we're thinking, okay, how do we reintroduce this without messing up your collection? I don't know. I think you are going to have to pick out some pipes that you don't mind tasting a little smoky for a while. That's one of those things I have learned and even lamented the fact about myself over the past year that I have become more and more of a pipe smoker that does not smoke a lot of Latakia. I just don't smoke a lot of it. And the blends I do smoke that feature Latakia are just very, very small amount. It's a very small proportion of Latakia in those blends. And so when I do smoke a Latakia blend, I tend to pull for specific pipes that are kind of set aside for those. And I just kind of segregate them in different pipes. I don't know. I think you may have to do the same thing. Now let's think about it rationally, though. If you have a pipe that you dedicate maybe to Virginias or some other type of blend. You mentioned you like Orlet Golden Slice, Morton. I think if you smoke a English blend in there that's not just a Latakia bomb of some description, just a blend that won't completely overwhelm it, I think you're fine. And even an occasional blend, here and there that has Latakia, even a good bit of Latakia. I think as long as it's not a regular all the time thing, you're not going to mess up pipes that that have have a certain taste to them or anything like that. You might get a little ghosting, but to be honest with you, man, you're a pipe smoker because you enjoy it. You probably don't own a bunch of pipes just as decorations. You want to smoke them and enjoy them, and man, your pipe can handle whatever blend you put in it. So if you got a blend that's broken in for Orlet Golden Slice, man, if it's a real time of day and you're just craving a good English blend, man, put it in there and don't smoke an English blend in there again for a while. And man, it'll be fine.
This question speaks to me personally, because I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
Like I'm very much, maybe one day I'm in the mood for this, maybe I'm in the mood for that. And the same thing with my pipes. It's like, all right, what am I going to do and what am I in the mood for?
Yeah.
It's very rarely, just the exact same thing.
I love that he describes himself as a day-to-day grocery shopper. Yeah. And I get that. Like, I'm very, I have very eclectic taste. I never want the same thing. Like our customers that come in and have for years, they've bought, Cherokee by the pound every month for 40 years. Like I don't know how they do it. I mean, it's one thing to smoke that much tobacco, but then also how do you just go through life without the variety? I don't know. So I think, man, your pipes are versatile. They can take the heat, load them up and smoke them. And, if it's got a little ghosting, man, you'll be fine.
Well, and I would also encourage you to start checking out some mortar pipes as well, which are really good for kind of switching out different tobaccos.
That's right.
We talk all the time about having a good corncob pipe, like the good folks at Missouri Meerschaum.
That's right.
And making sure that you have kind of something there that if you want to try something new that maybe is outside of a rotation or something of that nature, you can kind of gravitate. For me personally, I tend to, when I'm very fickle, if I'm going to go somewhere and I still haven't picked out what I'm going to smoke, I typically go specifically with my Morta, my Rhino, or one of my Missouri Meerschaums.
Or a Missouri Meerschaum, Cob pipe is perfect for that. So work that into your rotation, and good call on the Morta too, man. Morta is just smokes, or Turkish Meerschaum too. They just smoke so clean. They just clean smokes. You don't really build cake, and it's a good opportunity to just smoke whatever you want.
All right, man, we got some great quick fire questions in. These actually come in from Varge, the pipe pirate. Man, we met Varge.
Is this a real person?
No, we met him in Chicago.
Man, it's great. We met so many awesome people in Chicago, man. It was great. I was just chatting the other day online with our friend Steve from Wisconsin, and man, we just had folks all over the world that we really got to spend a lot of good time with. So that was great.
He sent in some quickfire questions a while back with somewhat of a Chicago theme, although it's kind of all over the place. So here we go. Entertainment is the theme of tonight's quickfire questions.
Got it.
Bill Murray or Stephen Colbert?
Steve Colbert.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Now, Bill Murray, that's a little That's a little vintage, I think.
Oh,
I don't
there's
know.
a lot of listeners who you just made really mad.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It just seems a little dated. I don't know. I got to go with Stephen Colbert.
Bill Murray is a classic. Stephen Colbert is a treasure. I'm gonna have to go with Stephen Colbert.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's
how I'm gonna go.
I
John,
think we're gonna get a little hate mail.
we're gonna get a lot of hate mail. just you wait for what's coming. John Belushi or Chris Farley?
Ooh,
that's a good one. That is a really kind of tough one.
Chris Farley?
I'm gonna go Jim Belushi.
Okay.
Farley was great.
John Belushi? Yeah.
Yeah. What did I say?
Jim.
Yeah. John Belushi. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Belushi. Yeah, Farley's excellent. I mean, you can't beat his Chippendale dance with the flap going everywhere.
That is pretty great.
And the van down by the river, of course, classic. But Belushi he did The Godfather, right, back in the day. He had a Godfather sketch that he was.
I can't remember, to be honest with you.
His Marlon Brando. I can't do it.
That was pretty good. You did a good job.
Siskel or Ebert?
Probably Robert Ebert.
Yeah,
Roger Ebert.
Siskel was dead, right, when we were growing up.
Well, yeah, but then Ebert, I think Roger Ebert died just a few years ago.
Very, very recently.
Yeah.
But I remember very specifically Ebert and Roper, I think, was his.
Yeah, it was Ebert and Roper. Yeah, it's the replacement. But Ebert was interesting. He would he had these really wonderful ways of just skewering these awful movies. I don't know if and what's funny is that I don't even watch movies. Y'all make fun of me for this all the time. I don't know any of this. It's a miracle I even knew what Revenge of the Jedi was when you got that T-shirt.
Oh man, that's
but
great.
it's Ebert had this great way of just skewering these awful movies in this very poetic way. I would really encourage you to look up some of his just more severe critiques of some movies over the past 20 years. I think you thoroughly
skewer
enjoy
is
them.
exactly the word. That's well played.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, John Cusack or Joan Cusack?
I have no opinion. John Cusack.
I'll go with John Cusack. I'm not a big fan, but if I had to choose, that's how I go. Great quick fire question. We got tons of them, man. So we'll be going through Varge the Pipe Pirates quick fire questions.
Dude, those are great. Those are great. Pappy Joe wants us to be sure that he says Bill Murray is a great comedian. Colbert is an ass insulting people to be funny.
I'm surprised that you don't find a kindred spirit in Colbert there, Pappy Joe. Count it.
He might be onto something there, though. I get that. Yeah.
Very good. That was great. Well, hey, great quick fire questions, of course, from Varge the Pipe Pirate. If you've got some quick fire questions, you can send them in csr@podastery.com. Hey, we want to also tell you finally about our last sponsor before jumping into our listener feedback this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, of course, if you followed us through if you followed us during the Chicago Pipe Show and our coverage there, we were brought out there by the brand new web community, This Pipe Life. And This Pipe Life is now sponsoring the show. We're really excited about this, guys. It's an online community that is unlike any other. It's very visual in its approach. There is kind of a Facebook, Instagram freshness, I guess is the word to kind of describe it.
Yeah.
When you go in, you do have to register to get in. If you go to thispipelife.com, you can go ahead and register to get in. There's forums, there's images. It's a really cool place. We are registered there under Country Squire Radio, I think is the account.
That's right.
All one word, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be popping on the forums there from time to time too. And yeah, we're really looking forward to being more and more involved in that community. And
That's right.
Want to thank the good folks at This Pipe Life for sponsoring the show.
Absolutely.
All right, listener feedback this week. Oh man, this is almost kind of becoming its own segment, but we're going to kick off listener feedback with a return of a favorite here. You ready for this?
Yeah, bring it.
Now, live show, you have to kind of imagine the most interesting man in the world.
Oh, is this what we're doing? Oh,
ready? Okay. He once taught. Hang on, let me turn my mic so I can do this right. Ready? Bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. All right, here we go. He once taught a calculus class with an abacus.
With an abacus.
With an abacus. He once sailed around the world without a sail. He used bikini tops knotted together. They were your own. I mean, let's be honest.
They were my own, right? Right.
He won an Olympic gold medal in fencing using a broken pipe stem.
That's fair. I think I could do that.
He's such an icon that Gandalf blows smoke in the shape of his face. He smokes so well his mama smacks you. He is John David Cole, the most interesting man in pipe tobacco.
That's ridiculous, man.
I love that. That is my favorite thing. As you know, y'all keep sending them in, and we'll keep doing it. Those are great. It's a combination of
man. If Gandalf blew out a puff of smoke that looked like me, like I think people would recoil in horror.
That's great. Those came in from Homestead Economics in Portland, Paul. So thanks, guys, so much.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We got Facebook.
My mama would not smack anyone.
No, she's one of the sweetest people on the planet. But that's the thing. You just smoke that good.
That's it.
Eric E on Facebook writes in and says, "Hey guys, I'm new to your show and I'm really enjoying it. On your Latakia show, you brought up chicory coffee. A little more on a historical note. Chicory was introduced to coffee by the French settlers from Europe and French Cajuns from Canada. Napoleon desired to make French independent of any import such as coffee, so he ordered the drinking of chicory as a coffee substitute. People began mixing it with coffee grounds to make their beans go further, and soon many drinkers preferred the flavor. Chicory, neat, never really took off, but chicory coffee did. Keep up the great program." And that again is from Eric E on Facebook.
Dude, great call on that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really funny. I was actually just drinking a huge cup of community coffee with chicory this morning. That's kind of my morning go-to. And I had a particular jitter to my step today, and I think it's because I've had maybe a little bit too much chicory in my coffee. I'm not sure, but yeah, man, it's one of those things. It's just a kind of a French American tradition, particularly from the South around Louisiana. We love that good coffee with chicory in it, and man, great history lesson there.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And then finally, we got an iTunes review from Hello. You got me on that username. Wait, you want to read that one?
You want me to get this one?
Yeah.
All right. This is from iTunes. H. Lokes, maybe.
Okay.
One of the best. Let's see. One of the best on the net, he says. I stumbled across the show while looking for pipe information. Since finding it 3 weeks ago, I've listened to all the past episodes, which for the most part are timeless and informative. John, David, and Bo mix together pipes, their lives, their beliefs, and other fun items to keep it interesting and enjoyable. I'm looking forward to making a trip through Jackson soon, where I hope to meet them and pick up some great tobaccos. Man, absolutely, brother. You come by anytime you want. We appreciate your writing in. We'd love to have you here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's great listener feedback. We also want to encourage you, if you've not done so already, go over to iTunes and write us a review.
Yeah.
It's a great way to show some love for the show, and it doesn't cost you a dime to do it. So go to iTunes. And the other nice thing, too, is, we get these wonderful emails. We get great Facebook messages in. We try to pepper those through, and sometimes it can even take months before we actually kind of get an email in. But if you write us an iTunes review, it's guaranteed to be read on the show. So hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Go write us an iTunes review. We also want to encourage you to be sure to check out the live show. We want to give special thanks to those who are checking out the live show on countrysquireradio.com on Monday nights. You can join us and be part of the conversation. If you join us at countrysquireradio.com on Monday nights, that is 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Booyah.
You do such a good job.
And I'm terrible with
you get a cookie for that.
Thank you. CountrySquireRadio.com is the place to be. If you head over to Twitter at Squire Radio, if you follow us there, you can actually tweet into us during the show, as we've gotten some great and wonderful commentary from all of y'all who've been tuning in for this particular week. We encourage you to do so throughout the week. Again, at Squire Radio on Twitter is where you can follow the show. You can follow me at The Real Bo York.
I'm at John David Cole, or you can get us at the shop at _Country Squire.
And, of course, again, all that information can be found at countrysquireradio.com.
Hey, our friend Varge wants to be sure that we know that if the FDA ruling goes through, he won't be the only pipe pirate.
Oh!
That's probably true. That's probably true. I could see that.
Hey, this actually kind of works as a nice little tease for what we're going to be talking about next week.
Yeah, good tease.
Yeah. Actually,
next week's show.
So next week, we did this a long time ago. We did a podcast on pipes and pirates and pipe tobacco during the golden age of piracy.
Yep.
We're going to reopen that topic. I've been in a major pirate kick. When I was in Mexico, I was actually reading a book called If a Pirate I Must Be. And tobacco is all through that, because tobacco was such a huge commodity that was constantly being transported across the ocean, which of course was constantly being kidnapped and added to the prizes of pirates. So I'm looking forward to that one, my friend.
I'm just looking forward to our fabulous Bo York accent.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be great.
That's pirates. That's gonna be a good one. So y'all check out that. But man, let's go tonight.
All right, brother. Good to see you.
thanks so much for tuning in to the live show. We really missed you guys, and we really appreciate it. We had a huge
Yeah.
showing tonight, so thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we will see y'all next week.
Yeah, it was really great to reconnect with y'all. Y'all have a good week.